This is a reading of my book, Defence Against the Dark Arts of the Real World. My name's Tim Faulkner. I'm a transpersonal counsellor and hypnotherapist. And this is a book I've written. It's a rather strange little book, and I'm not aware of any other books like it. It was inspired by the dark arts class in the Harry Potter books and a World War II air raid and warden handbook. This is the book here, and I thought, why, if they have a dark arts defence course at Hogwarts, don't we have an equivalent course in the real world? The book's been written in a style which I hope will be interesting to adolescents. Also, as the book teaches defensive practices, adolescents who are sensitive to criticism, and that describes just about all of them, can read the book without feeling they're being spoken down to, criticised or reprimanded, as indeed they're not. I had it proofed by a university student who described it as very interesting, and it was a really original take on so many things that people experience day to day. I let my hair down with this book. It's not an academic book, it's idiosyncratic. It relies heavily on my knowledge of the unconscious obtained from my study of Jungian psychology and hypnotherapy. It's a defence handbook which explains all the dirty tricks I know of and, more importantly, the defences against each one. It contains everything about defences. Everything about defences I would want to tell an adolescent about before he or she goes out into the big bad world. Everything the young are not taught at school. What to do when, psychologically speaking, the other guy, girl or machine throws sand in your face, or pulls a knife out of his boot or her boot, or increasingly its boot. It's not about how to succeed. Library shelves are groaning with the weight of motivational books such as Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, and Zig Ziglar's See You at the Top, and The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. And these books and motivational audio resources are all logical and positive and good solid stuff, but they're all directed at the rational mind. Our schools only teach about the rational mind. Since my former life as a lawyer, I undertook 2 diploma courses, one in transpersonal counselling and the other in hypnotherapy. In both courses, the lecturers explained to us that we had to learn to use our feelings and intuition. In other words, we had to take notice of our unconscious minds. This book is about protecting your unconscious mind. It is about how to protect yourself from exploitation from what Vance Packard, author of The Hidden Persuaders, called motivational analysis, a grubby ragbag of tricks, techniques aimed at the unconscious. If I can quote from the book, car salespersons, real estate agents, mobile phone salespersons, bank staff, bookmakers, pokies designers, casino hosts, advertising agents, liquor salespersons, drug dealers, policewomen, policemen, marketers, engineers, chemists, food technologists, graphic artists, Freudian psychoanalysts, Jungian analytical psychologists, behavioural psychologists, motivational analysts, cultural anthropologists, social scientists, child psychologists, symbologists, neuro-linguistic programmers, mesmerists, traditional hypnotists, Ericksonian hypnotists, and many others. These are all trained in aspects of the dark arts, and they will unhesitatingly and unscrupulously use their training, skills and technology to further their interests at your expense. They will do this by using the dark arts of the real world to prevent you from exercising your ability to make rational decisions. Today, the unconscious minds of the young are under attack on an unprecedented scale, and the young have never had such little psychological armour. What are the dark arts of the real world? I define them as anything that deprives you of the ability to think rationally, and I break that down into 3 categories. The book is divided into enchantments, potions and charms. Potions are mind-altering substances and charms are sales techniques. Most of the book, however, is taken up with enchantments, and that is the part that will be of most interest to Jungians and hypnotherapists. So, just looking at the content of the enchantments section of the book, it starts off with a brief history of enchantment and bewitchment, and with an explanation of the attempts by legislators to suppress or limit them. As an aside, it was only in 2005 that our Victorian anti-witchcraft laws were repealed. The book goes on to explain the conscious and unconscious minds. It explains enchantment as the moving of a person from the conscious state to the unconscious, and it explains the consequences of this, the cognitive functions disabled under trance and the cognitive functions enhanced under trance. It talks about the archetypes, the structure of the unconscious as defined by Jung, and of the compensatory function of the unconscious. It alerts the reader as to how the unconscious can manifest itself and how the reader can become more aware of when it is doing so. It talks about multiple enchantments, about how more than one program can run concurrently in the unconscious and how these programs can be activated. It talks about the nature of meditation and gives advice on how to keep safe while meditating. It specifies practical defences against different enchantment and bewitchment techniques, how to recognise each and what action to take. For example, how to protect yourself against a mesmerist. The book talks about the role of trance in therapy and explains how it can occur and how it can be beneficial or negative. The book then goes on to explain archetypal trances, and these combine trance with Jungian archetypes and archetypal symbols. They are very powerful, a very powerful tool where one wishes to take over the mind of another. The archetypal trances I identify are the Aries-Mars trance, military, competitive sports, the Tyche, Fortuna, Demeter, Ceres, Artemis, Diana trance, gambling, the Artemis, Diana, Demeter, Ceres trance as represented in computer games, the Aphrodite, Venus trance in infatuation and love, the God trance, religions, and the Osiris Jesus trance, sacrifice. The book talks about the subliminal content in radio and television advertisements, and it looks at the movies, how they activate archetypal content, they alter the zeitgeist, that is the common feeling of the people. I discuss the use of the hero's journey in movies to feed compensation and its effect on the psychological arousal level of the individual, and that ties into the next section on potions. The book is interesting to me because I wrote it perhaps more for myself than for others, but the book is interesting to me in that whilst writing it, I gained a better understanding of the ways people can be put into trance, the role of audio-visual technology in trance abuse, and the implications of the archetypal trance, that is, the combining of trance and archetypes, or the targeting of archetypes with trance embodying archetypal symbols. And since writing the book, I realised just how much trance is being accomplished by technology. As I mentioned, the power of archetypal trances, how the book can be used to introduce non-Jungian trained people to the unconscious, and how the book could be useful for school chaplains to enable them to engage with non-religious students about the soul. So that's enough for the first video, which is just an introduction to the book. The next video will deal with Chapter 1. Thank you for watching.